Alright, here we go. 3 years ago, I made a video about my social anxiety, so I wanted to make an update video because I've changed since then. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the strategies I use to significantly lower my anxiety in most situations and some of my most recent experiences with it, because I still do experience a lot of social anxiety in very specific situations. It's just not as bad as it used to be. I just want to be able to look back, like I was able to look back at my previous video from 3 years ago to see how much progress I made and track it like in another like 5 to 10 years from now, if we're all still alive. I can go back and watch my videos. The years have been like flying by the way. Like, is it just me or is time going faster than it used to? Okay, conspiracy theory. Oh, this is my phone case. It's very appropriate for this video. I want to give like a background into my thinking, like my mindset at that time when I made that video. Someone once said to me, once you're shy, you're always shy. And that was said to me like in the 4th grade, so almost around like 15 to 20 years ago. I really can't do math, like I just didn't want to calculate it. But it was a long time ago, and I still remember it as a kid to an adult now, and it still haunts me, but not as much as it did before. And I don't think that saying or whatever that guy told me is always necessarily true for everyone. But because that was said to me, I grew up believing that being shy was a bad thing, because in America you're expected to be very like outspoken and loud, because apparently that is like a precursor to success, like if you're outspoken, which isn't always necessarily true, by the way. I grew up thinking like, oh, I'm like so shy, and like being shy has always had some sort of negative connotation to me. That quote became like almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, because I was always thinking that I'd never be able to like grow out of my shyness, and I'd never have the chance to be normal in situations that I had anxiety in. So I had that idea in my brain that no matter where I moved, or like no matter where I started out, like whatever I did in my life, like my shyness would always be an obstacle for me. Back then, like 3 years ago, that was like my mindset. I was like, there's no hope, I'm gonna die like this. Like, but there is hope, and that's why I'm here today, to tell my past self and whoever watches this, there's hope. And by the way, there is a difference between social anxiety and shyness and like being introverted. I'm not like trying to lump it all together. I just happen to be a nice little package of all three. Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Social anxiety is a mental illness. It's the fear of being like rejected or humiliated in front of a person or people. I don't think I completely realized that until I was in college. That's when I was like, I need to get help. So I did, and I like filmed that past video around like 2017 to 2018. Around that time, I was at the lowest of the low, like my mental health. You can see in that video, because like I kept like cracking like jokes and like pretending everything was like a-okay, but it wasn't. Like there was a war, there was like a battle in my mind that I thought I was gonna lose, and it led to depression. So if you need help, I suggest you go get help. Around that time, I was very stressed out about school and my internships, which were like very, very stressful because it was like a pass or fail situation. If I like fail, I have to pay more money to stay in school and like waste more of my precious youth, which is already wasting away if you can't tell. Luckily, I passed. So cheers to me, because I passed. The American college system is corrupt, by the way. It's like run like a business. It's run for profit. We're still learning things even in college and high school and school that we're not even going to use in the real world anyway. So somehow it always leads to politics. Hashtag feel the burn. Rewatched my past video the other day, And in it I said to myself, you need to figure this out because like I don't want to live like this anymore. And for the most part I think I did, because now I have like more strategies and more things that I use to help myself. Okay, why do I keep slapping my thigh? I'm so awkward. It's not even because I'm like in front of a camera. I'm always like this. I'm always like this, and forgive me if this is cringy and if I say like and because I got a lot of weird habits. I'm happy to say to my past self that I changed for the better. Thank God. This is what I learned in the past 3 years. So number one, I learned it's not bad to be shy. Like, we need diversity in like personalities, just like we need diversity in races and like religions and nationalities. Like, diversity is beautiful. And another thing I do is I think of my anxiety as a separate entity, or like a separate like personality than myself. Every time I have like a negative thought, I don't attribute it to myself, I attribute it to this like entity. I keep saying entity, like entity, and it's creeping me out, so I'm not gonna use that. So I just think of my anxiety as like a different person than me, and every time it tells me like negative things, like, oh, these people are gonna think your idea is stupid or whatever, I just say that ain't me, that's someone else. Separating that from me helped me a lot, so that I know that my anxiety isn't completely me. Like it doesn't define me, if that makes sense. The main thing that helped me with my social anxiety was completely stepping out of my comfort zone in extreme measures. So doing things that I would never have done previous to that video I made 3 years ago, and like putting myself in situations that I didn't want to do, even if I didn't want to do them. I moved to like 2 different cities, I got a job, I went back to church, I met a lot of like different types of people and made new friends, and I traveled, and all of that, like a combination of all of those things, just like being involved in the community as well, helped me immensely. Something I do is like ask people a lot of questions and kind of deflect the conversation off myself if I'm feeling insecure, and like focus on the other person and not me. Like, I force myself to like small talk even though I didn't want to, and I still hate small talk, by the way. Like, worst shit ever. Like, small talk is unavoidable in America, at least. But you gotta do what you gotta do to get by in this country. Past me would literally avoid every single situation that I didn't want to be in, which is why my anxiety crept up and like stayed at such a high level, because I wasn't challenging myself. And you can't do that if you want to grow as a person. So whether it was like talking on the phone or even just like walking past big groups of people, like I couldn't do that. I still have anxiety about it, but it's like subsided a lot because I'm used to those situations. If you have to expose yourself to those situations in order to learn that like you're not gonna get hurt, and that maybe like your subconscious and your you know, fight or flight doesn't kick in situations like that, because it doesn't need to kick in situations like that. I'm more of a calm person. I was always sort of calm and had this like I don't give an F sort of attitude, but now it's increased a lot to the point where I'm actually okay with myself, and back then I hated everything about me. You could tell, well, maybe you can't tell. Which is not okay, by the way. Like, we need to love ourselves. Like, there's something special about each person, and I have always believed that. Like, there's good about each person, and that's coming from a certified misanthrope. Also, another thing that I have been doing since that video is I try to like focus more on like my hobbies and my interests and what I love to do, and I have learned a lot about myself since then and my capabilities in these like last few years, instead of always putting myself down for things that I thought I like couldn't do. One of My hobbies is like going on adventures, traveling, like mini adventures. I used to live in the Bay Area, so every weekend I would try to go out. And I would, even though I didn't want to go out, I would force myself to go out because I needed to expose myself to the outside world. And like I feel like that made me feel a lot more confident in myself because I never thought I'd be able to do that previous to that video. And lastly, meditation and having gratitude is something I learned from church and like doing research. These things are so important to me because rather than focusing on how I was being perceived by other people, instead I focus on like how thankful I am for like the small things and everyday things. Some of my recent experiences that I still have challenges with, talking on the phone is still one of my challenges, and it's such a simple thing, but for some reason it like my heart starts like racing, especially with like talking with people of authority. Authority, by the way, we don't need that. I don't know. My bad. It's always turning political. I don't even know what I'm saying. Yeah, whether it's with someone like of a higher like caliber than me, I don't know if I use that word correctly, like a coworker or boss, I get nervous and my like heart beats really fast. I try my best to do that. And also like Zoom meetings and group meetings, even like with Zoom, like I'm in the comfort of my own home, but I'm still nervous to share an idea because I still have this thing where I'm not completely secure in like what I'm saying. I don't know like if it makes sense because I'm not a very articulate person. Whatever, so that's something that I'm working on. I think it's really good in general to know like what your challenges are so you can work on them. So that's what I did. I basically became very self-aware like during this whole time. And if anything good like came out of this whole like having social anxiety thing, it is like that I'm very self-aware. It's very self-aware, like more than ever before. And that could be a good and a bad thing, by the way. But I try to make it into a good thing. Nobody's perfect. Like, who knows how I'd act like if I didn't have social anxiety, because I'm already a little bit like slightly weirdly obnoxious. So you always got to turn these things into something positive. Zoom meetings, phone calls, those are my recent experiences. What else? Okay. On another note, I also have this thing about fear where I can't let it get in the way of what I want to do in my life, so that's why I've been like challenging myself more than usual. So my most recent experience with like social anxiety was like just a few days ago. I was ordering pizza and I like came back to pick it up and it was like half an hour later or something, and I was just standing there and like the lady would not notice me, and it was super crowded and busy and there were like people all over. Like I just like could not get the words out. All I had to say is like, where was my pizza? I ordered it. Why am I saying it like that? Where's my pizza? I ordered it like half an hour ago. And that's one of my main problems also, is being assertive. I probably stood there for like another like 15 minutes until like her coworker asked me, and I was legit like standing right next to my pizza. It was like on the like heating rack thing. So yeah, not a proud moment. So obviously I'm still like having struggles. You have to be like dedicated to like working on them and learning more about yourself in order to do that. So that's what I'm trying to do. In conclusion, there's hope. Like who's ever watching this, like if you have the same problem as me, it is completely possible to like grow and change, because I never thought that I'd be able to. It's crazy to me because 3 years isn't that long of a time if you think about it, and I was able to grow so much. I was technically an adult back then. Now I feel like I'm finally getting to like a nice mature-ish mindset more than before, even though sometimes I still feel like I'm 15. Some days I feel like I'm 15, others I feel like I'm 70. I don't know, like if that's like a personality flaw or something. I believe in you, future me. You can work on whatever else you're struggling on. Whoever is watching this, I believe in you, even if no one else does. My friends watching this, I love you. Wow, that was like so out of character. I haven't done that since like 2015. If you put a camera in front of me, I just start acting weird. Is this recording? I feel like I always have to check. Okay, goodbye and good luck. Future me, you can do it.